fire, 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 fire.
What the hell is going on with Xbox? Why does this make me think of something really sick? The internet has ruined me, Chad. Genuinely. This image, I think, is like really disturbing.
The, as of now, not so jolly green giant Microsoft Xbox just pink slipped about 9,000 people.
Ooh, 9,000 people. That's all. Wait, that could have been all of Diablo 4's development team. Yeah, they had 9,000 people working on that game, huh?
July 2nd, 2025. They axed the long-teased Perfect Dark reboot, shuttered the initiative, and quietly nudged Rare's decade-in-the-making Everwild into an unmarked grave they've been digging for God knows how long.
Yeah.
It is, unfortunately, the bigger and better
is what
sequel
it
to
is.
last year's Carnage, when Xbox decided that Hi-Fi Rush, their massive hit, was...
This was unironically criminal. Like, what did they want? Did it not make enough money for them? What's going on over here? Hi-Fi Rush was a resounding success.
warranting of closing the studio, and Redfall was Redfall. There was nothing that really could have been done about forcing a studio that makes
but didn't Redfall get a sequel? Am I wrong? Did Redfall not get a sequel, or was it just one? Is Redfall 1, or is it? No way. Okay, I was misremembering. I thought some other garbage got a fucking sequel.
immersive sims to make a stupid live service heap of vampire nonsense.
So bad.
Oh, except maybe not forcing them to do that and then complaining when it doesn't work. I mean, that was kind of a built-in ZeniMax problem, but still, nothing says we believe in...
I don't trust ZeniMax. They made they made ESO such a garbage game, and people still play that shit, and they still shove it full of microtransactions. It's criminal. I do not I can't stand ZeniMax.
The power of our studios, like closing them, while Phil Spencer insists he's not retiring anytime soon. The new Xbox strategy looks a lot like, if you can't beat them, publish on their platform.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, they're all sailing onto Sony's turf, and Hellblade 2 is hot on their heels. Meanwhile, Game Pass is stalled at 35 million subscribers. Not enough.
Yeah, record breaking, by the way.
To shake a stick at, but it hasn't been growing, and it's needed to grow. So Microsoft decided.
This is what I will never understand. 35 million playing or using the monthly thing, and you're still not happy? Corpos are so bad, man.
You know what?
We
Let's
need more
start
money.
partnering with people to make third-party handhelds. Oh, and they won't play the entire Xbox catalog, just PC games that you don't need Xbox for. Yeah,
So why don't you just buy a Steam Deck? Isn't there a new one coming out soon?
a lot of head scratching going on. This is a long intro, but in order to set it up, there's a lot to say. It
That's
feels
fair.
like we've been asking this question a lot, but, well, hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on
Hello,
Game Ranks, we
Falcon.
are, again, perhaps more fervently and more
Master
seriously
Chief.
asking the question,
Wow.
what the hell is going on with Xbox? All right, so the last year hasn't been kind to the Xbox brand with the whole Xbox Everywhere
This is an
initiative
Xbox.
and the many
This is a sex box.
concerning rumors that we've been seeing coming out of Microsoft regarding the future of Xbox hardware. But it seemed like things were kind of on the upswing after Xbox strong showing at Summer Game Fest. That positivity has all but evaporated with the devastating news from yesterday I mentioned at the top. You know, over 9,000. Yes, over 9,000 people employed at Xbox have been laid off. And Microsoft, could you have at least not done the meme? I don't want to laugh about a bunch of people losing their jobs. But multiple studios have been closed for good. Some highly anticipated games have been canceled. Cuts and layoffs are hitting everywhere, even successful areas like Turn 10, and even studios working on frickin' Call of Duty. It appears
It
that
was very indiscriminate. They fired people from DEI. They fired people from games that were successful. They fired people for games that weren't even out yet. So people don't even know if it would have been bad or not.
nothing, and no one
They
is
shot
safe in this
everyone
major
in the
round of
head.
firings. Keep in mind, we're talking about the fourth major wave of firing in the last 2 years. Ever since acquiring Activision Blizzard, it has just been a bloodbath for all involved. This latest thing is a step beyond, though. It's not just support staff or QA or redundant management or whatever excuse they came up with for the last ones. This time, Xbox is coming for your job, whether you're in a studio trapped in development hell or in one of their best studios with hits coming out of it. In late June, we actually heard
we saw someone that was a 3D artist for 2 Dead Games for Rumble. They shut down. Coincidentally, there's a game called Warcraft Rumble, and that's going into graveyard development, even though it's only been out for like 2-3 years. I wonder if it's because nobody freaking plays that game. Yeah, a bunch of people got fired off of that too.
rumblings about potential mass calling of jobs here. And on the 2nd of July, the hammer came down. It wasn't just Xbox, it was all of Microsoft. It's about 4% of the entire Microsoft workforce, which is, to be clear, insane. The initiative the studio formed to work on the Perfect Dark reboot was entirely—
Imagine 4% of you getting Thanos snapped out of the stream. That's how you know it's serious. You put that into like actual quantifiable terms. No! Just randomly, just pow, 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 pow.
Shut down. The Perfect Dark reboot has been canceled. I mentioned Rare's Everwild as well. Canceled. According to insider sources, the cancellation of Everwild is actually leading to the game's director, Greg Mayles, a 35-year veteran of Rare, who—
Why do they always fucking kill games that I love? Man, look at him patting fucking Banjo, man. Look at him fucking patting that stupid bear.
worked on games as far back as Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, and Viva Pinata, bolting. Just like, you know, if you're doing this, I'm gone. I'm out. I'm out, guys.
Better. Dude, I don't know what's going on, man. I hate that Microsoft constantly like makes these horrible decisions. They acquire studios, and then when they don't do good enough, or they take too long to make a game, and the FIFA was already the next FIFA was already making like so much money for them that they don't want to put effort into like making the next new Banjo-Kazooie. They just don't care. They want money. Money. They've been stuck making Sea of Thieves for almost a decade. I thought Sea of Thieves was already out. Hello? Am I missing something? What?
I mean, this is just one person among thousands, but I wanted to highlight him because he is an elder statesman of the games industry, and Mayles' exit from Rare is one of the last nails in the coffin for classic Rare.
Sad,
Almost
dude.
all of the old guard from that studio are just gone, and it's sad to see him go. It's a tough time to be a Rare fan right now, honestly, but in all seriousness, it's not just Rare.
You can only hope that they'll make another studio in like fucking 10 years or something. Chat, there is hope. I like to think, and I hope that there is an answer to like Blizzard's bullshit. They won't make another World of Warcraft. You can't capture lightning in a bottle like they did in 2004 or 2001 with Warcraft 1 and 2. Or Warcraft 3 for that matter. But I'd like to hope that there's someone out there working diligently right now to try and make an answer.
It's everything Xbox. Even King, the mobile game developer and massive moneymaker for Xbox, is getting like 10% of its studio cut. Raven Software and Sledgehammer are getting hit with some layoffs.
Sledgehammered their jaw.
A new IP that was going to be a new MMO from the Elder Scrolls Online.
Thank fuck for that. Nah. Thank God. No, I do not want another ESO, bro. No, thank you very much. Good. I'll say it. Good. W. Thank God. What a waste of time that would have been. Oh, yeah, another ESO online developers do MMO. Oh, it's canceled. Dude, we already have you, so blow his ass.
Guys canceled, and that's far from the only thing getting canned at Bethesda.
Ooh.
Reportedly, there are multiple unannounced projects that have been canceled. Even John Romero, the influential co-creator of Doom, was not spared Xbox's, well, I guess you could say wrath, but
Oh
I
my
don't think this is
God.
wrath. As somebody who loves video games, these
He got fucking laid off. I didn't even know he was still around.
job losses are brutal, and hearing about all
This
these
is so
potentially amazing games
sad.
getting canceled before their time, it's
Hope he gets
super
a good
disheartening.
job.
I'm not really a console wars person. I like me some PlayStation, I like me some Nintendo Switch, and I like me some
Yeah.
Xbox. But
Console wars are for cringe, low IQ people. If you are a high IQ individual, you want to be able to play all your games on the consoles you want to play. You want to play with your Xbox buddy? That's fine. Go ahead, play with your Xbox buddy. If you want to play on your PlayStation, you want to play with your PC buddy? Yep. You want to do that? Yep. Yeah, you should do that. You should be able to do that. You know, I hate that you can't play any other Nintendo games unless another person buys a Nintendo console.
as such, I am an Xbox fan, and it's hard not to feel like the sky's falling after all this news. So what
sorry
does
to
Phil
hear
Spencer,
that.
the head of Microsoft Gaming, do? Why put out a tone-deaf
Gamer
internal
Tag
message that sounds
P3.
more like a press release for shareholders than anything meant to address concerns or help with what is, I mean, an absolutely bottom-of-the-barrel morale situation, no doubt. This entire statement is so freaking pathetic. It is pure corpo garbage that
PR
inexplicably
talk.
acknowledges all the job losses.
My brother went to school for this shit, by the way. He has a fucking PR degree. Can you believe that idiot wasting his fucking time? He's now an electrician and does a good job. I always bully him for it. I'm like, oh, whenever I see this corpo bullshit and I talk about it with like video games, he's like, yeah, this means actually this. And I'm like, oh, yeah, of course, naturally. Like, he can read between the lines. Like, I know everybody can, but he's really good at it. It's crazy. He'll read like a paragraph statement from, let's say, for example, like an Xbox, like laying off bullshit. And he's like, oh, well, actually, this means this, and this means this, and this means this.
While at the same time saying, I recognize that these changes come at a time when we have more players, games, and gaming hours than ever before.
Wow!
Our platform, hardware, and game roadmap has never looked stronger.
So that's why we laid off everyone. Yeah, we're doing great, you guys.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Phil? I'm sorry to curse, but what is that? What is that? I'll tell you what it is. He's trying to calm investors while addressing the issue for remaining staff, and it just comes off as fake as shit. We've all been willing to give Phil a shot the last few years because things have been tough. I'm not gonna pretend that things
pincer.
are not tough. It's getting harder and harder for anybody out there in them streets, but it's also getting harder and harder.
Before Activision Blizzard got bought out by Xbox, they laid off around about a total, I think, 1,600 people within around about, I want to say, 7 years or 6 years. And they always had record-shattering, like, profit margins. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're having record-shattering profit margins every year when there's layoffs. Why do you fucking lay off those people? They were customer support people. Before the people that say, like, oh, it was DEI bullshit, it wasn't actually. This was, like, back in 2014. Like, how does that work? Like, why are you laying off the customer support?
To see his run as the leader of
'cause
Xbox
we don't
as
need
a
him, yeah.
freaking
We got
disaster.
AI.
Going from the top of the industry to what is essentially a
Gears of
third-party
War.
publisher in just over a decade is something basically.
This game was horrible. I rented this from, I think, from like a video game store for renting. I don't think it was like a Blockbuster. This game sucked ass. I was so pissed. My brother told me I could rent any game I wanted, and I picked 2 games, and one of them was Sonic 06. I was so pissed.
only Sega can truly
It's no
identify
use.
with. Like the Genesis
It's no
was
use.
just, I mean, it did what Nintendo don't. And the Xbox 360, yeah, it had some pretty big problems to overcome, but they
hate
did
this.
right by consumers, and that built the brand in a massive way. It's
your brother get
arguable
another
that the
game?
Nintendo Wii won in terms of pure sales, but culturally speaking, the Xbox was the winner,
The
right?
Xbox,
now,
yeah.
a lot of homegrown Xbox franchises dead in the water, floundering badly. The
It's
division is entirely
clack.
propped up by their third-party purchases of Bethesda and Activision, and even then, it seems like, at least right now, the purchase of these massive studios is hurting them more than it's helping Xbox. Like, look at how many cuts are being targeted at Bethesda and Activision. It's not just Microsoft stuff here. It's across the board gaming division stuff. With how things are going at Microsoft, along with all the reports we're hearing at EA and jobs getting cut there, it's hard not to feel like the
Black Panther getting canceled was so funny. We talked about that too.
bottom is falling out of the U.S. games industry. If this really is the beginning of the end of the U.S. dominating video games, it's at least partially a self-inflicted wound, fueled by reckless consolidation and tech industry greed, buying up everything they can without actually understanding why people buy video games. It's honestly
Suits,
completely
man.
infuriating, but it's the narrative that's being built. It's not just a U.S.
I want games to be made by fucking fat, sweaty nerds. Like, look at RuneScape. Like, you might disagree with Jagex in, like, some directions and, like, the moderation and the corruption on the inside that's, like, that's been, like, pervasive in the last, like, 5 to 10 years. But at least they've got fat, sweaty, English, British fucking gamers that play the game. At least somewhat, man.
games industry, honestly. There's
I
reports
miss
that
it, man.
video game spending is just down across the board. After COVID, all these companies bet on infinite growth. But hey, remember how we were all stuck indoors and the best thing to do
back to
with that
work.
situation is play video games? And now we aren't all stuck indoors anymore? Oh, there's a shock. Were these people thinking that the disease was going to keep us inside forever? Like, that wasn't the new normal. It was an aberration in human history. That's not how human history works. I know people like 28 years later, but that wouldn't happen, man. Not just the whole zombie aspect
People
of it,
really
but like
wanted it
they
to
die
happen,
out.
man.
The zombies starve.
Instead of just a bunch of people died.
They can't think. They
Very
just do
sad.
rage shit. And eventually you run out of energy. That's how diseases work. They become less as they spread antibody. We don't need to get into it. I just can't fathom the reaction from all these
wanted it
companies that
forever,
because
chat.
we're in a pandemic and we're locked down and everybody's playing video games, that's how it's always going.
It's the same with streaming. A lot of people popped the fuck off, like, during 2019 and 2020 and 21, I would say. And they actually expected it to last forever. And they put in the same amount, if not less amount of energy at the end of the day. And then they fell off and were like, no, this can't be happening. Same thing happened with video games and shit, too.
I just can't fathom that. There's no set of information that implies that. And yet, jeez. And the younger generation is literally getting priced out of their own hobby. Games that
Yeah,
casual audiences might
$80,
actually
bitch,
want,
cop it
like
up.
Perfect Dark, they're not getting made. And Halo is not out of the woods. Who even knows what's going on with 343 right now? I know this is
They're
a real
dead.
downer, but it's pretty hard not to be frustrated with this news. If there's something I can say to counteract the negativity, it's that Xbox isn't dead. All the news that's been dropped the last few days is bad, but that doesn't mean it's over. It means there's some major reshuffling going on. They do still have more than 40 games in development. There's at least one more Xbox console in the future, probably. At least that's what we're hearing. Game Pass isn't going to go away.
Isn't there going to be a Fallout 3 remaster? I love Fallout 3, but I'm not hopeful that it's gonna be good. I don't know, man. I kind of don't want them to remake it because I feel like it's gonna be worse.
35 million subscribers
Which is impressive.
is a lot. It's maybe not the license to print money Xbox and Microsoft hoped it was, but 35 million subscribers is a success. They should hold on to that because that's, if I'm not mistaken, the current game subscription service that is successful. Like, if there's a Netflix equivalent, it's Game Pass. So the news
35
isn't
million,
all
baby.
bad. It's important to keep in mind that even with all these internal issues at Microsoft, they're de facto still the #1 games publisher in the world. That is because they own both Bethesda and Activision, but still Xbox isn't going anywhere. And yeah, it's easy to lay the blame on Phil Spencer, and certainly he does deserve plenty. Sarah Bond, the president...
I don't think that laying down the responsibility of an entire massive what is it called, like conglomerate for video games is appropriate. You have to hold all the other people below him, the writers, the people that got hired, the people making the decisions on video game music, or like whoever has to be in charge of like lighting and all that shit, QA testing. I don't know, man. Again, people like to like put not a messiah, like a sacrificial lamb on a pedestal. I know that Phil Spencer obviously is in charge, but like it's like he's not responsible for Fallout 76 happening. You know, there's like a bunch of other suits that were talking to him about it. And that's what makes it really annoying when people say, oh, well, you know, like, Phil Spencer's just gonna make it better, or he's gonna make it worse. It's like, I don't think Phil Spencer really gives a fuck. I'm not gonna lie.
President of Xbox and Max Booty, the president of Game Content Studios, they deserve some blame here as well. But
Everyone
I do want to say
blamed.
this. At the end of the day, they
Not
are
just one
also
guy.
just cogs in the Microsoft machine. Phil still has to answer to Satya Nadella, the CEO and chairman of Microsoft. And you better believe that it was probably him and not Phil that was pushing for the reduction in staff. Phil's just...
I think it was all the fucking investors, too. I don't know. Very broad topic. And the middle management, yeah.
Unfortunately, though, at the end of the day, Xbox is a small portion of Microsoft's frankly massive empire. The successes and failures of that division are just a drop in the bucket compared to the revenue that the other divisions bring in, which is an important and humbling reminder of just how seriously the company takes the division, which appears to be not that much. In the past few years under Nadella, it's felt like the sword of Damocles was just hanging over Xbox, waiting to fall. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. It's all pure speculation, but it literally just could be that rather than a string of bad decisions. I don't know that I would say it's that, but Phil could have been trying to stave the inevitable off for the past few years, just trying to keep the gaming division alive when the vultures at Microsoft's other divisions are circling. I want to note that this is possible and probably some of the explanation at bare minimum. But it's also not to say that the Xbox team hasn't made serious blunders. The way they've handled their internal studios, like...
What they did with 343 is absolutely criminal. They destroyed a fucking beloved franchise. I think to those people that don't understand how I feel about Blizzard, if you are a fucking Halo fanboy, it's the same thing but with a different game studio. They unironically completely destroyed a game that everyone loved. If you don't get it, you'll get it, with that analogy. Well, have you seen the article alleges the layoffs are for an $80 billion investment into AI infrastructure? Curious if there's any truth to that. If there's even a modicum of truth to that, I would absolutely believe it, because every single Blizzard Activision game that I've experienced in the last like 5 years has been overrun with AI moderation and just absolute dog shit. They laid off all the customer support and just lay down all the tickets through AI, and I don't think even when they say, oh, we'll just send it to like a manager, I don't think it goes to a manager. I think it goes to a higher up AI that checks that shit. Anybody who's played COD knows about the AI filter, like listening to your voice, and if you say like retarded, you get instantly banned or like chat muted for like 3 days. It's absolutely insane.
343, the coalition, and the now closed The Initiative has
COD,
been a disgrace. Xbox was handed some of the greatest IPs ever, like
True.
Halo, Gears of War, and yes, Perfect Dark. There was major potential there, and they squandered it with poor management. We've been quick to praise Microsoft's hands-off approach to game development in the past, and it's led to some amazing stuff, especially from Obsidian, who are
Can I just say that this is another thing that kind of fucking chafes my ass. When was the last time Windows had a good OS? Like, let's think about it. Realistically, Windows 7? Everything past Windows 7 was just complete ass. Yeah, XP or 7, I would say. I think XP or 7 is the only valid fucking answer. You think you can trust them to like lead game development? Like again, operating system and all that shit. I don't even know fucking anything about that, or at least like not at a very basic like fundamental level. But it's like not even close. Like you can't have a one-to-one to that. You think they're gonna be like in charge of like multiple video game studios and like know what they want? There's like thousands of people in between them and the CEO of fucking Microsoft at that point. Thousands of people. It's not even an exaggeration.
Proving to be the MVPs of the entire division lately. Seriously, you know who I haven't had to mention up till this point in this video? Obsidian. That is of note, to say the least. But in the case of other studios management, like of Halo and Gears specifically, maybe a little more hands-on would have been helpful. If they had, maybe the initiative wouldn't have floundered for nearly 10 years with basically nothing to show for it with Perfect Dark. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not that hard to make a Perfect Dark game. You could literally just reboot it and do the first game's plot with some changes, and I think everybody would be pretty psyched as long as it turned out well. Like, it doesn't even really have to be original as long as it does what it's supposed to do and adds enough that it's not just the same game again. Like, the initiative was formed in 2016.
When you say add things but don't change it too much, that's already too much to ask. Yeah, original thought not found.
They've had basically nothing but some vertical slices, according to reports. Compare Microsoft's handling of their studios to someone like Nintendo, who's very hands-on. Some developers buckle under the pressure. Yeah, I've seen reports retro...
Nintendo hands-on? The only thing they have their hands on is around your throat when they're choking you out with a fucking lawsuit and cease and desist. What are we talking about?
Studios really struggled with Nintendo working on Metroid Prime, but at the end of the day, it's an all-time great game. With Xbox, it's 10 years of nothing followed by cancellation. And that's always been a problem with Xbox to a certain degree, but this slow, gradual transition from major hardware competitor to third-party software developer,
Xbox
publisher,
Game
whatever,
Studios.
it's sad to see. Maybe in Microsoft's eyes, this is a more profitable direction to take things, but as a gamer, it feels like the mighty have fallen. It feels like the industry itself.
What game is this? This looks like fucking ass. Oh my god, what is this game? Did you see the movement on the zombie and the cutting? State of decay, more like state of ass, dude.
The hobby, not necessarily Xbox, but this
looks like a fucking mobile game, but somehow worse.
Is a huge pillar of the gaming industry that is crumbling. I told you I am not a console wars person. Seeing this happen to a big company that was this successful, which technically has a much bigger company behind it that up until this point has just been willing to fund it to no end. I mean, if you don't see something in those tea leaves, I don't know if you're looking. That doesn't look good. Like, I will say, it could be an economic response, the post-COVID dip, and it may eventually even out. Maybe all this doom and gloom around Xbox is unwarranted. Maybe they had to make these moves, and this is stuff that will end up working out in the future.
I could never get into State of Decay. It was pretty snoozy. I don't know, man. Maybe I have really high standards from Left 4 Dead, but I can't stand when zombies, like, don't look like... Like, when you cut a zombie, it just looks like shit. There's no excuse. Left 4 Dead came out in 2009. If you have worse, like, zombie or, like, ragdoll physics than a game from 2009, I don't know. I just don't think you're good at making games. Sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry.
But as an old-time game bird, someone who's watched this happen to Sega and now is watching it again with Xbox, but now in a completely different economic climate, seeing how things have been going the last few years just really sucks. I don't really care about Microsoft's bottom line. I care about video games. In the case of this situation, I care about Xbox games and positive feelings I've had about the original console and all the amazing games back on the 360. But more and more, the division feels less like that Xbox and more just Bethesda and Activision, because they're really doing the lion's share of the game publishing now. Almost all the old stalwarts at Xbox, the games that put the console on the map, they're seemingly dying. I hope that's not the
It's
case.
Master
I hope
Chiefs!
Halo comes back bigger and better than ever. But right now, that possibility feels very distant. So to answer the question, what the hell is going on at Xbox? What the hell is up with Xbox? What the hell is this? Well, a lot of people are getting fired, and some highly anticipated games are getting canceled. Unfortunately,
Closing
the
down after
vaporware
7
nature of
years.
both Perfect Dark and Everwild means
To
that
be fair, if you've been working on a game for 7 years, you have nothing to show for it, I feel like it's kind of over. Maybe that sounds harsh, but 7 years is a long time for game development.
the cancellations are probably justified. These were probably money holes. That doesn't make
Yeah.
it not sting, though. What really sucks is the
Probably.
loss of all these other unnamed games from Bethesda, including a new IP
I
from
don't know, this doesn't look
ZeniMax.
too
It all
bad.
just looks really
It's
bad for
alright.
Xbox on the whole, but this was the inevitable result of their purchase of Bethesda and Activision. Like, that's how industry stuff works. Jobs are gonna get lost, but I don't know if anybody really predicted how bad this was going to get. The cutting around 50% of the staff at Turn 10, the guys behind Forza, is especially brutal, as are the cuts at Call of Duty developers like
Forza.
Raven and Sledgehammer. I mean, Call of Duty is basically a license to print money now.
Yeah, so why do you need people to, like, you know, develop the game at that point? They cut off so many people making, like, Call of Duty. So many people. I think last time they cut like 800 people, and that was like, no, was it 600 people? God, there's just so many layoffs like in the last 5 years. I can't even name them. Just rest assured, they fired a bunch of people from COD less than 3 years ago. I know that for sure. And they make hella money off that thing.
Like, that's not changing either. It doesn't have any
I don't know how
evidence
they
of
get away with
changing.
it.
So if you think anyone would be protected, it would be them. It's a bloodbath across the board, and things might sound really bad. Xbox, unfortunately,
Oh yeah, and they're using AI for art assets now, so that's probably a big reason why they're like still making money hand over fist.
whether they deserve to
Yeah.
or not, is going to weather the storm.
Mm-hmm.
What Xbox is going to be after the storm, I have no idea. But Microsoft is a monolith. They're basically untouchable in the tech
Yeah,
space. And at least for now, it
monopoly.
seems like there's
Monopoly.
interest in keeping the gaming division alive. Otherwise, it wouldn't be, you know, a percentage of layoff. They could just shut the whole damn thing down. I don't know. Maybe in the future, we'll look back and see this as another step in the decline of Xbox that started all the way back in 2013 with that embarrassing Xbox One reveal. Or maybe not.
The
I hope
Xbone.
things stabilize. Not
Dude, does anybody else remember the X-Bone and Fable? Oh my god, that was a disaster. Everybody was bullying the Xbox kids for fucking years.
just for the future of Xbox, but
The
for the
Xbox.
future of gaming and the developers and workers that are still with the company. And hell, the developers and workers that aren't with the
Master
company anymore.
Chiefs.
There is a serious problem if Xbox is facing the need to cut
Xbox.
at this rate. That has implications beyond if they keep their job at Xbox. Are there going to be jobs elsewhere to get? There's a lot up in the air right now. Morale has got to be at rock bottom at the company, too. Hopefully, things improve for these guys and they're able to make great games, because that's what matters, right? That's what we all
Yeah.
hope happens.
No, money-
What do you
money
think?
matters,
Leave us a
chat.
comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Game Ranks.
Someone said that there's room for game devs like Expedition 33. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there's absolutely potential. Chat, you should hold out hope. I don't know, maybe start making babies and occupy yourself that way. Make babies, breed, you know, get divorced, get some child support. Where are the women to make with? AI women. AI women.
Fire, fire, fire,